Hi, I'm Deanna,
Hi, Maddie.
and we're going to be talking about the three branches of government
Bill of Rights.
and checks and balances.
Let's get
Hi,
started.
I'm going to be talking about the three branches of government. So the first branch I'm going to be talking about is the legislative branch, and I'll tell you why at the end. So the legislative branch is controlled by the Congress, so-called the Senate and House of Representatives, and the Congress makes the laws. So before the law is even made, during this whole entire process, they call it a bill. So the bill is basically a law. Well, a bill is something that is trying to turn into a law, and the bill is explaining everything. So let's say there's a law that we can't drive until we're 16. We can't get our permit. 15 and a half. So that's a law. So now it's just explaining and reasoning what the bill is going to be. So once the bill turns into law, that's when the executive branch comes in, and we'll explain that later. So they make laws, and also the legislative branch declares war, and they collect money from taxes. The House of Representatives has 435 representatives, and the Senate has 100 representatives. So the reason why the Senate has less people is because they're taking 2 people from each state so that the smaller states can have an equal amount out of their state. And the reason why the House of Representatives only have, well, not only, they have a lot, but the reason why they have 435 representatives is because they are not really equaling it out, so that's why they bring it into the Senate to equal it out, so they can have as many people as they want, and it doesn't have to be equal. So that is the legislative branch. So let's go on to the executive branch. So next is the executive branch, and in the executive branch is the president and vice president and the cabinets. Cabinets are like the president's assistants. So the way they all get voted is by the electoral college. Just an extra little fact. Anyways, so these are the people that enforce laws. They're the ones that sign off the laws, and they make them the laws. So once they're bills, they turn into laws. Also, the president can veto the bill, so he can reject it if it's not like okay, I guess you can say. So he can like not accept the bill, and he can just give it back to them, give it back to the legislative branch and have them fix it. So that's when the veto comes in. But other than that, the president stays in for 4 years, and he gets to run twice. And they obviously enforce laws, and they do things like that. And the president is also commander-in-chief. So he's like the big guns, and he's like the woo person. And he makes the final decisions with the Navy, Army, and etc. And he makes treaties with other countries. So he like makes meetings with other countries, obviously. And yeah, the president is like the highest person in the executive branch. So it's not just all about him when it comes to 3 branches of government. So last but not least comes in the judicial branch. So last but not least is the judicial branch. The judicial branch is the Supreme Court, so that's like the big people. And the Supreme Court interprets laws, which means that anything that goes against the law, if you do something that is against the law, that's when the Supreme Court comes in, and that's when you go to court. So the judicial branch deals with more of the bigger cases, as in the ones that are messing with the law and things like that. And they indicate whether someone broke the law or not, and they determine if that person is going to like go to jail or if they can just get passed. So they have to like also look over the laws and see what they did wrong and etc. And they deal with more of the bigger cases. They don't deal with they deal with more of the cases that interpret the laws, obviously. So they're the ones that come in and they're like, wait, no, you did something wrong. And also the Senate also has a big thing where they can impeach someone in the judicial branch, which means they can tell someone in the judicial branch that they did something wrong, and they have to prove it in order for the person to leave that branch. And the only way that the other person leaves the branch is if it's proven right. Proven guilty. So impeach is when they say that someone did something wrong. And also there are 9 justices, and they can stay judges for life. So basically their whole entire thing is a life term, and then for Senate it's 6 years, and for House of Representatives it's 2 years, and then for President it is 4 years. So that's when judicial comes in there for life. So thank you for listening to our 3 branches. Oh yeah, and I totally forgot. So the reason why I put the legislative branch first is because that's the one that goes in first. So it basically starts out legislative branch, executive branch, and judicial branch. So thank you for listening to my 3 branches of government, and next is Hattie.
First Amendment involves the freedom of speech, freedom of press, and freedom of religion. Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. Third Amendment is the right to no quartering troops. This amendment means that troops and soldiers cannot come into your home without the approval of the owner. The Fourth Amendment is searches and seizures. This means that police cannot come into your home without a good reason or a warrant. Police are not allowed to come into your home and take away things that belong to you. Go. The Fifth Amendment is self-incrimination. This means that you are allowed to not testify against yourself. The Sixth Amendment is the trial clause. The Seventh Amendment is a civil trial. This means that everyone has the right to be listened to by the jury and to have a lawyer. The Eighth Amendment is fair punishment. Depending on the case, everyone deserves to have a fair punishment. The Ninth Amendment means that everyone of all ages, any size, any race, no matter where you live, basically anyone that's human has rights, and no one can take that away. The 10th Amendment means that any rights that are not listed in the Constitution go to the states.
Hi, we're going to be talking about the
Checks and balances.
So I'll start out. If the legislative branch makes a law that could take away our rights, then the other branches, as in the executive branch and the judicial branch, can do something to stop in order to protect our rights that we were already born with. And the Congress can disapprove a law, but the president is the one that disapproves them. So he's the one that says that vetoes the bill. So that means like rejects it, like what I explained earlier. And yeah, how do you next?
If the President and Congress both agree on a law and the Supreme Court disagrees with it, they'll call it unconstitutional. The President can choose the judges, but the Senate has to approve or disapprove of them, so basically the Senate has final approval. The Supreme Court can work for as long as a life term, but can retire before then.
And one last fact is that the president can disapprove of laws, but Congress can go against that with a 2/3 of a vote. So if the Congress gets 2/3 of a vote, then they get to keep the law.
They overrule it.
So yeah. Thank you for listening to our social studies video. And bloopers. Hi. We're gonna be talking about the
Checks and balances.
So I'm gonna start out. If the legislative Hattie! Here.
Really?
Hi, what was that?